Aloha, my friends. So I know you've probably noticed the past couple days on Facebook and Twitter, I've been talking about this draft. Well, I joined a fantasy baseball league this year and it finally came to fruition. My friends and I stopped talking about it and actually did it. So I was really excited about that. And we had our draft on Wednesday night. Little drum roll, please. In the first round, I selected Goldie! I had fourth pick, so I took Paul Goldschmidt. And then in the second round, I used my phone a friend option. I mean, why can't you phone a friend, right? Since I've never played before, I wasn't exactly sure. Since I had some really great pitching selections sitting right there, if I should take pitching or if I should stick with position players. And so I phoned a friend, aka my brother, and everybody's like, you're cheating. And I was like, oh, listen, I've never played before. Let me ask my questions. So I asked him, I'm like, okay, listen, I am sitting on like Hanley Ramirez and I want to say it was Madison Bumgarner, but I don't remember. I just remember that it was some really awesome starting pitching that I would have been stoked to have on my team. So my brother was like, why don't you concentrate, on just grabbing Hanley because he's a really great pickup, and then, base it off of if there's just a player that's too good to pass up, don't pass them up. Just use that as your rule of thumb, but maybe start thinking about pitching your next, maybe your next two rounds. So I was like, thank you. Um, and before the draft actually started, I told myself I'm not going to take players who will be a conflict of interest because clearly not a Boston fan. So, I mean, this actually hurt a little bit that I had to take Hanley, but I mean, he's a great player. I mean, I really couldn't pass him up. So took Hanley. Then I think the next round I took Ryan Braun, and then I concentrated on my pitching. So I'm just going to read you guys my list that I have of my players on my team. I think I'm a pretty awesome drafter and manager, if I do say so myself. Okay, so this is my list. This is not the order they were drafted in, obviously. So I took Jan Gomes, Paul Goldschmidt, Brian Dozier, Matt Carpenter, Hanley Ramirez, Ryan Braun, Sinsu Chu, Jason Worth, Jose Reyes, Jock Peterson, Melky Cabrera, which Melky was just sitting there for a while, and I was kind of waiting for somebody to take him, and nobody was taking him, so I was like, come on, Melky, come to my team. Then I took Greg Polanco, Kevin Kiermaier, Derek Norris, Michael Morse. And for pitching, I have Johnny Cueto, Julio Teheran, David Robertson, Zach Britton, Alex Cobb, Luke Gregerson, Kyle Loesch, and Chris Tillman. I do have a bit of a surplus of outfielders, but I think that's okay. It should allow me to make some trades if I think that will be best once the season starts. But I think I did a good job. One of my other friends, who she doesn't watch baseball, but I thought it was pretty awesome that she wanted to participate in the fantasy league with us, her goal, I guess, or her method of drafting people was based on their looks. So I remember on her team, she had drafted Anthony Rizzo, Mark Trumbo, and then Coco Crisp. To each their own, right? She actually wound up with a really good team for somebody who's never watched baseball before, so good going. And then another one of my friends, she was working and forgot to make her picks and stuff before, so she just wound up getting auto drafted, and we were kind of waiting. We're like, Nap's kind of sitting there. Is anybody really gonna take him? And then I saw her coming up, and I'm like, oh, she's gonna be so happy since she's a Sox fan. So I texted her, I'm like, hey, you got Nap, and she's like, yes. So she was happy the right person got Nap. A-Rod went. Harvey went pretty early in our league. I was expecting him to go because he was actually on my list. But he went a little earlier than I anticipated, but he's having a great spring, so I think that was some pretty smart drafting. And then somebody else drafted a lot of Miami players, so that's either going to be really good or really bad for them, and I guess we're going to have to wait and see. But anyway, let me know what you think of my draft. If you've drafted, let me know who you've drafted. And it's totally cool to phone a friend, right? Okay, anyway, I will talk to you guys later. P.S. For my family out there, I have to say this. Go Irish.